Sweet. All right, what's up? Let's break some stuff real quick. Cool. Yeah, so welcome to probably like one person, my wife. Let's see. Get that off. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. This is even working. Whoa, two people watching. Probably me and my wife. Can anyone hear and or see? Let's see. Okay, cool. All right. Kill this. Kill that. Yeah. Get that up. This. All right. So, man, it's weird. Right. It's a big delay. Should be fine. I'm gonna watch on this. Yeah, so feel free to chat. There's a couple people on there, and I'll check intermittently. The main reason I'm doing this, in part, is because I'm bored, because my wife is out of town, and I had to stay here for real work in the day. Make sure this isn't fucked. Right. But now at night I can work on this. So this is going to be the audio book version of Welcome to Monsteropolis. It's something I've been trying to do for a while, and I've actually recorded it like twice now, but have just never been happy enough with it to actually send it through. But now I just don't care, but I don't have those files anymore. So I'm going to bang it out. Probably a good quarter of it tonight, if not half. I'll do the rest tomorrow. Yeah. Cool, man. And this is, you can see little baby pictures from the Jersey combo. So it's not supposed to be doing this. It's supposed to be like manually progressed, but fuck it. You'll just see some stuff coming up. Things to come. So let me toggle this. It's going to be awkward because I have to record each chapter separately, but oh yeah, check this little boy. Before we really get into it, I know why y'all are here. Just check him out. We're both super hot because we can't run the AC while recording. All right. Cool. So here we go. First off, I'm going to record dedication. So this is the dedication from the Jersey combo, but I'm recording it now just to have it, because I may put it on the audio version and as a mic check. So gotta not squeak my chair. This book is dedicated to Kesley, who keeps me sane at cons, Target, our house, and everywhere else, which is pretty much just cons, Target, and our house. Without her, none of this would exist, and I'd either be dead or worse. And yeah, if I fuck up, I'm gonna have to reread it, so I can go back and edit it. Without her, none of this would exist, and I'd either be dead or worse, wearing a fedora and a Hawaiian dragon shirt, creating and playing boob levels in Mario Maker. These would be levels with question blocks arranged to look like boobs. As I would jump into the blocks, pounding away long after the coins were gone and only a dark shell remained, the microwave in my studio apartment would beep to alert me that the pizza bagels were ready. My obese, ticking time bomb of a stomach would growl, and froth would begin to collect in the corners of my chapped mouth. But rather than get up, I would lick my lips and rasp to an empty room. Maybe one more boob level first. Maybe just one more boob. And fuck all of that. Alright, make sure this worked. Dedication. Sounding pretty cool, man. So this is the dedication from the Jersey combo, but I'm recording it now just to have it so we put it on the audio version and as a mic check. So, gotta not squeak my chair. This book is dedicated to Kesley, who keeps me sane at Target, our house, and everywhere else, which is pretty much just Cons, Target, and our house. Without her, none of this would exist, and I'd either be dead or worse. And yeah, if I fuck up, I'm gonna have to read it, so I can go back and edit it. Without her, no. All right, cool. It's good enough. Close enough for cowboy work. All right, let me make a folder. So you're seeing all the cool behind the scenes stuff. Let's see. Dedication. The dead pun, of course. All right, cool. Now we can jump in to the real deal with Bill McNeil. Is this set up? Yeah. All right. This is fucking slideshow. Oh well, it's good enough. Everything's good enough. All right. I don't think I need to read the intro shit. So let's just jump in. Right. Chapter 1. Baron crashed into his throne, tore open an envelope, and began reading intensely. His guitar and best friend Grindax hung above him from a massive spike on the wall. Grindax was blacker than the blackest witch butthole and older than the oldest witch butthole. He had a body shaped like a spider's head, with neon purple tone knobs for eyes and inverse jacks that also served as poisonous fangs. His neck was a twisted mass of nails, and his frets glowed in the dark or light. It didn't even matter. Oh yeah, he could also talk. Yo, Baron, what's that you're reading? He asked his best friend in the universe. It's an invitation to Little Billy's birthday party, Baron replied to his best friend in the universe. Baller ass, I love LB. When and where? Right now, at Pizzeria 64. Don't you mean Pizzeria 51? No, that place exploded, remember? You were there. We both were. Yeah, of course, it was legit. Grindax didn't remember, and he was intentionally vague so it would sound like he thought Pizzeria 51 was legit in case Baron had dug it, or the explosion that destroyed it in case he hadn't. Grindax was far more insecure than any blacker-than-butthole spider guitar monster should be. He flew off the wall and landed on the ground next to Baron, digging his fangs into the carpet and injecting some venom into it for good measure. All right, man, let's go hit this up, Baron said as he rose from his throne made of shark bones and dental floss. Grindax vommed out a frothy web guitar strap, and Baron slung his buddy over his shoulder. Normally, the strap's crazy acidity would have melted right through someone who did that, slicing him in half like a mushy banana, but not Baron. Baron was too tough and too pumped. He slammed his boots together to activate their jet thrusters, and the duo took off into the sky toward Pizzeria 64. We're here, dude. Wake up, Baron said after a super long flight. Grindax had gone into hibernation mode during the trip in order to conserve his power for the party. While he slept, he dreamt of orangutan ghosts who screamed as they watched a group of chimps play bongos on their skulls. Not their own skulls, but the orangutan skulls. Now he was awake and staring up at Pizzeria 64. It looked amazing. Like Pizzeria 51, but with an expansion pack. The entire building was shaped like a flying saucer, and it was painted with mercury so it shined like crazy and made you feel sick if you stood too close to it. A neon Pizzeria 64 sign pulsed violently and changed colors from orange to black to red to green, so whether it was Halloween or Christmas, you got pumped/primed. Fart, yeah. Let's tear this party apart, Baron whispered because Grindax was slowly waking up and he wanted to be respectful of that. As the duo busted up to the threshold, the front door swung open even though they hadn't grabbed the handle or stepped on one of those magic mats or anything. Slowly, but also really confidently, Baron and Grindex walked into Pizzeria 64. As soon as they entered, a voice asked, "Are you boys here to die tonight?" All right, do a quick check before I proceed.
Chapter 1.
Pretty good, eh?
Was thrown, tore open an envelope and began reading intensely. His guitar and best friend Grindex hung above him from a massive spike on the wall. Grindex was blacker than the blackest witch butthole and older than the oldest witch butthole. His body shaped like a spider's head, with neon purple tone knobs for eyes and inverse jacks that also served as poisonous fangs. His neck was a twisted mass of...
Alright, that sounds alright. Oh man, good boy. Is that this Dakota? Oh shit. Show that message for sure. I'm gonna see it all. Alright, here we go. Chapter 2. Baron searched for the location of the voice, which sounded like it came from a French baby standing at the bottom of a mountain. It actually came from the Maître d', who stood at Pizzeria 64's pedcheck gate. A pedcheck gate is where someone, usually / ironically a ped, stamps your hand with a unique identifier to make sure a stranger doesn't try to leave with you. The only rad thing about pedcheck gates is that the stamps tend to be UV sensitive, so there's usually a blacklight chilling somewhere nearby. This can provide a solid mini pump upon entering, and potentially a max pump upon exiting, as long as you were smart enough to turn your tickets into glow-in-the-dark spiders or something. "The fuck did you say to us, you little bitch?" Baron demanded. "Excusez-moi, sir," the Maître d' replied pompously with his neck fat jiggling all over the place. His face was melty and gross, and his eyes were almost shut from his dumb grin and even dumber fat. "I merely said, are you boys here to dine tonight?" "Oh, I must have misheard you," Baron replied with a manic smile. "You should really learn to speak up." He pulled out a razor guitar pick and threw it into the Maître d's throat. The probably a ped screamed, and the French modulations made the guitar pick cut wider and deeper until his neck split down the middle and his head flipped backward. Blood spewed everywhere, and the Maître d's tongue stood straight up in the air and danced around like an idiot. He fell to the ground, either dead or really close to it. Baron grabbed the pedcheck stamp off the counter and stamped his hand / Grindex's fretboard. "Can't be too safe," he chuckled. He threw the stamp onto the Maître d's stomach with such force that it rocketed his tongue out of his neck hole and almost into his... so I can go back and fix it. And almost into a skee-ball machine's 50 slot, but of fucking course it bounced out and impotently rolled into the tin, which might as well have been 0. Baron and Grindex busted in the main area of Pizzeria 64 and up to the food counter. A teenager, glowing orange from spray tan and wearing an upside-down visor, greeted them. "Hey, yeah," she rasped with a Valley Gutter accent. "Y'all here for the party?" "Maybe," Baron replied coolly. "But even if we were, we never party on an empty stomach." "Give us 2 pizzas, large. Extreme sour watermelon for me, hot blue raz for my friend here." "Your friend?" the girl replied, licking her lips and leaning in toward Baron's crotch. "I'd love to meet him." "Your wish is my command, babe." Baron swung Grindex off his shoulder, slamming the teen in the head and sending cobalt blue sparks flying into the sky. The girl fell back against the wall and gurgled like a confused sheep. "Now, about that za," Baron demanded. With her last ounce of strength, the teen reached up from the ground and dinged a little bell. Behind her, metal kitchen doors exploded open and fog poured into the room. A crazed chef, obese but that kind of obese where he still has a 4-pack and giant muscles busting through his chef clothes, slowly walked out of the kitchen. He held a massive meat cleaver in each ham-hock hand, drool dripped from his mustachioed lip, and his eyes glazed and twitched in pure intensity. He was the absolute embodiment of piss/pumped. "So, you want some za, do ya?" he screamed, spitting saliva and bits of ravioli onto the now dead teenage worker. "Come and fuck get it!" Alright. Whoa, that looks too loud.
Come and fucking get it.
It's probably fine. Let's see, boys. Oh yeah, it's fucking. I'm so stupid. Like I was trying to give myself a cue for where to see that fuck up in the audio, and I gave myself a visual cue. Like that's not gonna do anything. We'll have to do something obnoxious for the audio to find that stuff. It's probably gonna be annoying to hear. What you think? Pretty good, eh? Hell yeah. Yeah, man, I haven't read this book since I guess last Halloween, so it's some of this stuff is more obnoxious than I remember. Oh, what am I sipping? I got the... Man, this delay is great. Now I'm going to be holding it for like 20 seconds. Warlock. Ooh, look at that green screen effect. Oh, I can't hear the audio. Oh, because it's off. Oh, I can't hear the audio. All right. Cool. Oh, are y'all still seeing the fucking slideshow? This is where we are now. That's where we are in life. Cool. Rest on my belly here. Chapter 3. Felt a little phlegmy. Chapter 3. The obese chef charged at Baron and swung his right meat cleaver. Baron jumped back, but the cleaver grazed him and sliced off a few eyebrows. As he watched them flutter to the floor, he realized that this dude wasn't messing around. So without further hesitation, Baron grabbed Grindax and started shredding. He alternated between power chords and high notes so seamlessly that it sounded like 4 people were playing at once, one focusing on power chords and the other 3 on notes, but maybe sometimes 2 and 2. The chef instantly became so mesmerized that a trickle of pee ran down his leg. He hoped no one noticed, but everyone did and talked about it later. One kid even drew a picture of it from memory that night, and when his mom found it, she put the kid in therapy without telling him or the dad the reason because she thought that was her way of protecting them. But when she finally mentioned it one night when the kid was in his 20s and she was drunk on Chardonnay, shit really hit the fan. As Baron held the final note on the 75th fret, bending it in an infiniwhale, a black hole appeared in front of him. Chameleon Paint's skeleton arm shot out of the void and grabbed the chef's face really hard. "Time out! Time out!" the chef cried, swinging his arms wildly in circles. "No way, Jose," Baron replied, repulsed by his foe's display of wimpiness. Grindax nervously scanned the room in case anyone thought Baron was being racist, because the chef sort of looked Hispanic, but everyone was cool about it. The skeleton hand squeezed the chef's cheeks, face, not butt, even harder while he continued to flail around like a drunk chicken. After an hour and with a wet pop, the chef's head snapped off and soared across Pizzeria 64, spritzing blood everywhere before dropping straight through the hoop of a basketball redemption game. Tickets exploded out of the machine and sirens went nuts, announcing the highest score in history. "And one, baby," Baron muttered as he stepped over the chef's corpse and into the kitchen. After chowing down hard on pizza, Baron and Grindax were finally ready to join little Billy's birthday party. But that's when Baron realized something that stopped him dead in his track/pump. They had totally forgotten to bring a present. I want to see, did that sound phlegmy, that first 3?
Chapter 3.
Ooh, it's like a little bit.
Chapter 3. Felt a little phlegmy.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 3.
Much better.
The obese...
Like 2 people who pay $5 for this in Hunt Valley will just have to deal with the phlegm. It's been a long night of sushi and goldfish. All right, check in with. Yes, lost 2 people. Awesome. Down to 2. All right. Chapter 4. Let's probably mouse click there. Chapter 4. Dude, what are we gonna do? Baron asked in a panic. We don't have shit to give LB. Yo, wait, Grindex said reassuringly. Isn't it, softshell crab season? What the fuck? Baron snapped. Who would know that? Why do you know that? I don't know. That's why I was asking. Well, I sure as fuck don't know either. Oh. There was an uncomfortable silence where the only sound came from an arcade machine shouting, Bingo! Over and over again. Dude, Baron started again as calmly as possible. Why did you bring up crabs when we should be freaking out over Little Billy's gift? Well, that's just it. I was thinking we could give him one if they're expensive, as his birthday present. This fucking LB we're talking about, Baron said as pissed as possible. The same LB who for your birthday gave you a guitar pedal that turns all your notes into fart noises, batteries included. And you want to give him crabs? Softshell crabs? The fuck even is that, a pet? I don't know. I just keep hearing people talking about them. That's why I was hoping you'd be down, so we could find out together. Baron palm muted Grindex. He needed to think. As his eyes followed the trail of blood left by the chef's head, he noticed the snake of tickets still crawling out of the basketball machine. There had to be at least 1,000 there already. Grindex, he said, unmuting his annoying but well-intentioned friend. How good are you at dunking? All right. I was holding in that vomit the whole time. That was chapter 4. Oh, cool. Back up. How do you do shades? Is that shades? No. It's like balls and peener head. Oh yeah. Well, there's no fucking point now. I was gonna update this and the picture every chapter. Would have been very cool and interactive. But now it's... Oh fuck. Just goose something up there. Cool. Chapter 5. I gotta stop doing that. I know there's gonna be a mouse click there every fucking time. Right. That someone clicked it as I said it. Chapter 5. Baron walked over to the basketball game and picked up the pile of tickets, which were still covered in blood/tomato sauce. He wrapped them around his neck like a sweet scarf and slammed a token into the machine. Welcome to Basketball City, where it's dunk or dry, the game shrieked in a warbled robot voice. Dunk, Baron answered back. 4 basketballs shot out and flew through the air toward Baron and Grindex. In mid-flight, each ball split in half, revealing rows of conical fangs. Baron grabbed Grindex's whammy bar and started wailing on it, and Grindex sprang into action. He grew out his razor wire strings like crazy vines and grabbed the basketballs from the sky. The balls squirmed and chomped on the strings, but each bite shot them full of 100 volts, or more in case that's not a lot. He continued growing them all the way up to the hoop, then slammed the balls through the net while Baron screamed quotes from NBA Jam. Jams it in! Boom shakalaka! He's heating up! He's on fire! The net exploded in super patriotic red, white, and blue flames, and Basketball City groaned in defeat. You dudes are truly the Dukes of Dunk. The machine coughed before vomiting up another 1,000 tickets. Baron didn't even acknowledge the compliment because he already knew it to be true. Instead, he grabbed the tickets off the ground and wrapped them around Grindax's guitar neck so they could both have sweet scarves. The Dukes of Dunk then headed over to the redemption area to spend their newfound fortune. A pimply young geek sat behind the ticket counter playing a video game on his phone. Baron recognized from the music that it was Escape from Sideburn Mountain 4 in space. Oh, nice. Oh, shit. Yeah. Gotta get these voices down. Oh, nice. Is that EFSM4? He asked. First off, it's ESM, not EFSM, the geek sighed, emphasizing EFSM in a mockingly baby-ass voice. Baron bristled. No, he continued. It's ESM5, Sideburn Mountain in the Hood. You probably haven't heard of it. It's pre-alpha, invite only. Baron saw the phone screen reflected in the glass counter. And the nerd was definitely playing EFSM4. Baron recognized the level in everything. The fact that the geek would lie about something so trivial in order to seem cool/superior made Baron's blood boil. Whatever, pencil neck, Baron growled. Just give me the best prize I can get for 2,000 tickets. Jetpack, radioactive scorpion, whatever. And be quick about it. Ha! 2,000, the geek laughed nasally. Even this crappy rubber spider's 18 million tickets. Hey, it kinda looks like your guitar, doesn't it? Chinese, cheap, and crappy. Baron and Grindax instantly/simultaneously went ballistic. Grindax filled his fangs with his most necrotoxic venom as Baron thrust him straight at the dweeb's 5 inches in circumference throat. A bright flash erupted, and Grindax's fangs felt like they had just bitten into an electric hot pocket. His 8 eyes adjusted to find the nerd still sitting behind the counter, douchily playing EFSM4. Cold force field, motherfuckers, he sneered. 100 Bojo Jillian tickets. The duo's hearts sank and they choked back pizza bomb in utter devastation. Not only would they have to dunk for infinity to earn enough tickets for LB's gift, but they had been bested by a dweeby hipster baby bitch. It was the worst day in history for anyone ever. Wow, Baron repeated as he walked away from the ticket counter. I think this is it, man. I think this is finally it. Set your fangs to seppuku. Grindax's spider eyes filled with glow-in-the-dark tears, but he complied. He and Baron had talked about this scenario numerous times, especially when they were drunk, but he never thought it would actually happen. If that's what you want, dude, Grindax said sadly as he extended his fangs. It's not what I want, Baron snapped. It's what has to be done. For our honor. For our pump. I know. Gotta stay pumped. Hey, stay pumped, Marshmallow Man. I just got that. Huh. Baron laughed, appreciating his buddy, warts and all, for the last time. It's been awesome knowing you, man. And you, dude. Baron turned Grindax toward his chest and prepared to enter Pump Hala, which is a lot like Valhalla, but with more warriors spinning in office chairs and banging on pots and pans. Click. Yeah, not bad. See. It's so fucking hot. Who's Paul? Is that Paul NYC? Is that the Paul? Yeah, Paul Lawrence. Man, what's up, buddy? Welcome. It's a great honor to have you here, man. All right. This is still, yeah, cool. Still going here. Get in this belly crease. Chapter 6. One more. Oh yeah, Chapter 6.
Wait!
Baron heard the voice from across Pizzeria 64. It came from a cool-looking kid holding a cooler-looking cat.
Baron, don't do it!
The kid yelled as she ran over to the suicidal super dudes. Grindax retracted his fangs. Baron lowered him and said, "Make it quick, kid. We have a date with the Pump Reaper. Cool cat, by the way." "Thanks, dudes," the cat replied in a sweetly obnoxious voice. He was shock orange, overweight, wearing shades, and breathing through his mouth for some reason. Maybe he had a deviated septum, or maybe it was just preference. Either way, he looked/sounded awesome.
"Don't do it, Baron,"
the kid repeated. Something must have been wrong with her septum, too, because she was out of breath after running like 50 feet.
"Look, don't ask how I know,"
she wheezed.
"but you have so many sweet ventures ahead of you."
"No crap? How do you know?"
"Come on, man, I just said don't ask."
"Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot."
"It's cool. I know about the ADHD."
Baron stared down at Grindax's frets, wondering what they were made of and if changing the material would make a tonal difference or if it was more of a height thing.
"Listen, Baron," the kid continued. "You gotta trust me on this. You're needed in this realm and in others."
Baron couldn't see through the cat's shades, but he somehow sensed the feline wink. "But what about the Geekazoid and our pump/honor?"
"Dude, fuck that little dweeb,"
the kid replied sternly.
"He's probably just mad because he saw you dunk so hard. He knows he'll never be able to dunk or make out with a babe or anything. He hates everyone because he hates himself, and that's why someday he'll die, still working here, a miserable old non-grandpa."
Baron thought about all the times he had dunked and made out with babes, and how it was impossible to imagine the nerd even doing a layup or slapping five with a chick. The kid's logic checked out. "All right, homie," Baron replied. "I believe you. We'll stick around a little longer, but first..." Baron turned and shot a middle finger to the nerd, who acted like he didn't see it, but he did, and it stung so hard he immediately game overed and the high score screen auto-inputted SUX.
"Fart yeah," the kid "Fart yeah,"
the kid laughed. The cat started to purr. Grindax tried to purr too, but it sounded really weird/off. He changed the subject before anyone noticed.
If we're not doing the group suicide,
he said, which I'm totally down for either way, we'll still need to figure out a present for little Billy. Damn, true, Baron nodded. He looked to the kid. Got ideas?
Actually, yeah. I heard some poop-faced baby crying over at Looter's Lost and Found. He said he dropped a pocket knife somewhere in the ball pit.
Legit! Baron shouted as he grabbed Grindax and dashed over to the ball pit. He dove in head first, and with a vertical whoosh, everything went black. Baron awoke to find himself lying on the ground, staring up at a hot pink sky. Flying eyeball monsters drifted lazily below chartreuse clouds, and even I knew that was going to fuck me up. Flying eyeball monsters drifted lazily below chartreuse clouds and even chartreuseier stars. I don't even care if that sounds douchey. It's done. Grindax, are you okay? Baron choked. Yeah, man, Grindax replied from somewhere nearby. Pump reading's nominal. Nominal? That's not very pumped. Baron sat up. Whoa, Nelly, Grindax yelled. Pump reading's now at 4129. What'd you see? Baron picked Grindax off the ground and assumed a power stance. Before them stood a black metal material gate with black metal music, letters that read, Welcome to Monsteropolis. The book. Sweet. Chapter 6. Not override these. Yeah, cool. Exporting entire file with insane preset. Hell yeah. Sounds awesome. Check this one part. They got way too loud, I think.
Pit, legit!
Oh.
Shouted as he. Pit, legit!
It's fine. It's all fine. Cool. Y'all doing okay? 2 people. reverse. Chapter 7. After the intro credits rolled, Baron and Grindex threw open the gate and busted into World 1-1. See what I like later. Spooky chiptunes faded in as the duo entered a labyrinthine pumpkin patch. All of the pumpkins, trees, and dead grass bits were blacklit and glowing like crazy. Baron's pump meter flashed to indicate that it was maxed out and in danger of overloading, but Grindax's remained at 93% since he still felt a twinge of embarrassment from the purring incident. Not wanting his buddy's pump to drop any further, Baron sheathed Grindax and began exploring. He quickly noticed that as he walked deeper into the patch, fewer pumpkins and more jack-o'-lanterns surrounded him. Their eye-hole flames silently followed, making his arm hairs dance around like crazy. To break the tension and determine whether the jackos were cool or not, Baron asked, "Yo, pumpkins, have you seen a pocket knife around here?" "Yeah, man," replied an oblong gourd. Mrs. Bones ran by with one a few minutes ago. She said something about using it to fix us, since we were too scary for her precious babies." "Fuck that," Baron replied disgustedly. The pumpkins were definitely cool and definitely in trouble. "Don't worry, dark dudes," he assured them. "We won't let anyone make you family friendly." "More like family wimpy," Grindex called from behind Baron. A few pumpkins screamed because they hadn't realized he was there, but none of them laughed because they weren't fake and it wasn't funny. "So, where's Mrs. Bones now?" Baron asked, in part because he was interested, but mostly to pull Grindex's frets out of the fire. "At the edge of the patch." That's Grindex's voice. "At the edge of the patch," the jackos responded. "That-a-way." Their candles glowed neon green, which looked so rad against the black lights that Baron got goosebumps. Ghost bumps. R.L. Stein. Baron and Grindex followed the glowing trail. After about an hour ADHD time, 3 minutes normal time, they noticed another change in the Jacko monsters, this time for the worse. The carvings featured fewer glowering eyes and sharp fangs, and more eyelashes and surprised little ooh mouths. Baron trudged ahead, putting on a forced autist smile to not let the Jackos know how lame they looked. He palm-muted Grindex because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep his spider mouth shut. But the pumpkins only went from worst to worst. They became bedazzled with cheap crystals, their orange flesh poxed by glittery beauty marks, and cliche phrases like, "keep calm and be a fierce Halloweenista," and trick or hashtag PSL. The most unfortunate souls weren't carved at all, but merely / crudely painted to look like the princess or snowman character from an animated movie made by a very litigious company. These not even jackos looked so baby-ass that it alliteratively boiled Baron's blood and ground Grindex's gears. Man, I'm surprised I got away with that one. "Mrs. Bones will pay for this," Baron vowed as he slammed his eyes shut to avoid looking further upon the depressing harvest. He blindly continued his journey, walking for miles and leaving a graveyard of Mercy Crunch pumpkins in his wake. He would have kept walking / crunching for even more miles, but a stucco wall stopped him right in the face. Baron opened his eyes to find the wall attached to a generic, 2-story suburban house. It was barely decorated, despite the fact that it's always Halloween in Monstropolis. One tissue paper ghost hung from a tree on the front lawn, and the porch light had been replaced with a green bulb, but that was it. Meanwhile, tubs of Christmas decorations had been dragged to the side of the house, suggesting that the owner couldn't wait to take down the lone ghost on 12 a.m. Midnight. The lone ghost at 12 a.m. on November 1st, if November 1st ever came to Monstropolis, which it didn't. Baron was fucking livid. He stomped up to the porch and was about to use his jet boots to fire kick the place to pieces when he noticed a bowl of Halloween candy by the front door. A sign above it read, "Take only one, Mrs. Bones." "Oh, dang," Baron gasped. "Looks like we found Mrs. Bones, and maybe she isn't so terrible after all." Even if a take-one policy is stingy as fuck, and the underlining was a bit much, Mrs. Bones had at least put out some candy. Better yet, none of it was organic bullshit. Baron felt guilty for prejudging the skeleton mom, but proud that he had learned a valuable lesson. Grindex, what you want? Let me get one of those unlabeled black and orange ones. The fucking ped candies? No way, man. You get poison/touch for sure. Haha, I know. JK, Grindex laughed, even though he was anything but JK. I was just saying if you knew. Hit me with a crackle. Shit, now that's more like it. I'm going Butterfinger. Baron grabbed the 2 candies, exactly 1 for each of them. As soon as his hand left the bowl, the front door exploded into a billion shards of faux fancy fiberglass as he and Grindex were blasted off the porch by a vicious mom howl. No! Take only one! Oof. Right, let me get this part again. Even if a take one policy is stingy AF, and the underlining was a bit much, Mrs. Bones had at least put out some candy. Cool. So on Audible, everything has to be like fucking verbatim. So I don't know if saying as fuck will goof it up since it's written AF. This is really good for neurotic personalities. Oh yeah, check this shit out, the fucking repump time. So the part about how the pumpkins go from having like, you know, standard spooky faces to little fucking baby ooh faces. I got this from Vintage Halloween Sale on Instagram. And let's see, I know there's a delay. But it's like fucking dead on. We got the good face and little baby face. We can't handle it. Alright. Well, to watching. Okay. Hold on, I gotta pause this for a second. Let's see. Yeah, good enough. One second. Alright. Then there was one, aka just me. Chapter 8. It was Mrs. Bones. 8 feet tall with 4 arms of terror, the crabby skeleton mom towered above Baron and Grindax. Her apron, emblazoned with the color graphic Momster Knows Best, blew violently in the suburban night air. The blonde bob on her skull didn't move at all, though, since it was too short. She told everyone she cut it that way to be fashionable, but they knew she had just become lazy with age. Baron pulled himself and Grindax off the lawn and looked up at the mini-boss who stood before them. His glance caught her narrowed eye sockets, and he was suddenly overcome with the despair of the countless kids whom she had grounded for absolutely no reason. Only her voice broke the spell. "Can't you read?" she shrieked. "Take only one!" "I did, you bony bag of bitch," Baron grunted while dusting himself off. He unwrapped the Butterfinger and slammed it into his mouth. And so did he. Mrs. Bones looked at Baron, who was angrily chomping on his candy. Then she looked at Grindax, who was gnawing on his still-wrapped crackle. She ran the numbers in her head. Still unconvinced, she pulled out a bedazzled pink BlackBerry, which she called her iPhone and which permanently had a shattered screen. After logging in a Skullbook and sharing a few dozen memes featuring pixelated minions yelling something ungrammatical about coffee/wine, she opened a calculator app and confirmed that, in fact, 1 and 1 equaled 2. They equaled 2 no matter how many times she ran the calculation. Even Googling if 1 candy for 1, but 2, howmanycandies.com didn't give her the answer she wanted. But never wanting to admit she was wrong about anything, she quickly deflected. Too bad," she screamed. "You're too old to take any candy. Now bring it!" She leapt at Baron, scratching the air with her gnarly press-on nails. Baron deftly dodged the attack, and Mrs. Bones crashed into the ground and immediately started sobbing, even though Baron hadn't done anything to her, and she was the one trying to hurt him. I have too much to do today," she wailed. I'm tired." "Oh, fart knockers," Grindax whispered to Baron. "Oh, fart knockers," Grindax whispered to Baron. Dude, her piss/pump readings are off the charts. Mrs. Bones realized no one was coming to her aid, so she shut off the waterworks and went back into full rage mode. "What are we talking?" Baron replied. "She's at a 12, no, 13. "It's not too bad." "Remember the mom at that frozen yogurt place in the mall? The one who went fucking ballistic on you after you took too many napkins from the dispenser, even though it was an accident and you neatly set them off to the side?" Baron shivered. "She was a 4. "Oh, fart knockers." Baron steadied himself and assumed a defensive power stance of maximum intensity. "I don't need this right now," Mrs. Bones roared, launching a stink vortex of nail polish remover, and perfume samples out of her Diet Cola-stained mouth. Even Baron's most powerful power stance was no match for that caliber of stink. He and Grindax were blasted backward across the front lawn. They slammed into the tree and likely would have died on impact had the tissue paper ghost not cushioned the blow. Baron gave it a thumbs up, and Grindax slowly blinked at it in case tissue paper ghosts were like cats. Mrs. Bones growled in frustration and reached into her apron. "Baron, the knife!" Grindax shouted. The skeleton mom had withdrawn an ancient pocket knife. It looked incredible, like something a grandpa would keep tucked away in a shoebox for decades, before lovingly passing it down to his idiot grandson who would lose it in a ball pit the very same day. Before Baron could respond/get pumped, Mrs. Bones opened the knife and lunged. "I told you to clean your room before the maid gets here. How is she supposed to clean it when it's so messy?" Her riddle paralyzed Baron and Grindax, who became sitting/stabbable ducks. As Mrs. Bones began her deadly descent, a small bedazzled pumpkin rolled over and vine leapt into the sky. It looked down at Baron, gave him a knowing smile, and mouthed, "Fucking do it. I can't live this way another second. Please, set me free. Baron's confusion was quickly replaced by compassion and piss/pump. He winked out a tear and swung Grindex like a baseball bat, smashing the pumpkin into the He winked out a tear and swung Grindex like a baseball bat, smashing the pumpkin into a typhoon of gourd meat and cheap Barfosky crystals. Every piece of pumpkin shrapnel blasted Mrs. Bones across her face and bone boobs. The pocket knife fell from the Skelemom's hand and directly into Baron's as she busted infinity flips into the stratosphere. Baron used the knife to wail a triumphant power slide on Grindex, while the entire jack-o'-lantern crowd cheered like crazy and flashed every color of the spooky rainbow: purple, green, orange, and black light, which is different than purple. The crew partied hard for the next few hours, eating all of Mrs. Bones' candy and taking turns pissing on her Take One sign. When the partying and pissing finally subsided, Baron realized that he and Grindex needed to get their newfound gift back to little Billy before his party ended. "Yo, pump buds," Baron said with a mouthful of his 296 Butterfinger. "How do we get back to Earth from here?" "Earth?" belched a fat Jacko monster.
"What that means?"
squeaked another. "You know, Earth, the planet or dimension or whatever that we teleported from." All of the pumpkins tilted on the blacklit grass, looking like a patch of confused dog heads. "Well, fuck knockers, Grindex," Baron groaned. "Looks like we're stuck here." "Well, fuck knockers, Grindex," Baron groaned. "It looks like we're stuck here." It's probably identical, but we shall see. You understand. Chapter 8. Dunzo. All right. Chapter 9. Baron ran back down the trail and past the gate, hoping the portal would still be visible/open. It wasn't. He jumped around and turned over a bunch of rocks in case the portal would just become super tiny or shy, but it was nowhere to be found. "Dude, we're gonna miss the fucking party," Baron yelled, ignoring the fact that he had just partied for 1,000,000 hours. He felt hyper frustrated and looked for something to take it out on, which happened to be a beautifully carved cat gourd chilling next to his feet. He picked it up and reared back a fist. Ugh. Little vom there, boys. He picked it up and reared back a fist, ready to punch-splode it into infinity. The tiny pumpkin shook in terror and began crying sweet-smelling pumpkin seeds. "Yo, chill," Grindex pleaded. He hated seeing his buddy so stressed, and he definitely didn't want to see an innocent cat-o'-lantern bite the big one. "Just take it easy, man. I understand that you're pissed about the portal. So am I. But smashing pumpkins won't get you re-pumped. They're way too angsty." Baron looked over slowly. Grindex prodded. "You feeling like a rat in a cage?" Despite all his rage, Baron chuckled at the bad joke. He unreared his fist and morphed it into a contrite thumbs up. "Good, dude, good," Grindex sighed in relief. "Look, all we've eaten since we got here is fucking Halloween candy. You're probably just hungry. Let's kill some Bergs and Extreme Presso, and then we'll bust back. The portal will be open by then. I can feel it in my frets." Grindex's optimism was infectious to Baron, and a Berg did sound awesome. All right, Meng, he said. "Let's go. And thanks for talking me off the murder ledge." He carefully set down the cat-o'-lantern. "Sorry about that, homie."
"It's okay,"
the pumpkin replied.
"If I were trapped in an alternate dimension while the baller party was going on back home, I'd be pissed too. I'd probably be so pissed I'd punch you in the face so hard your nose would shoot out your butt and smell everything along the way."
"Dang," Baron and Grindex whispered. It was a pretty intense vision. They chunked up a deuce on the pumpkin patch and trudged back to Mrs. Bones' house in search of meat/caffeine. When they got there, Baron walked through where the front door had exploded, and the two entered a dark foyer. The air reeked of expensive candles and cheap Chardonnay. It was truly a mom's domain. Let me do that again. The air reeked of expensive candles and cheap Chardonnay. It was truly a mom's domain. They cautiously busted to the kitchen, passing endless chore charts and plastic-wrapped couches. When they reached the fridge, Baron opened it hopefully. But what he saw inside made his jaw/pump plummet through the linoleum, past the subfloor, all the way to the creepy crawl space. JK, the spooky basement. That looks loud.
All the way to the creepy crawl space.
It's way too loud. Can I continue off this? Yeah. Test. All the way to the creepy crawl space. JK, the spooky basement.
To the creepy crawl space.
Yeah.
Chapter 9. Byrne ran back down the trail and past the gate, hoping the portal would still be visible/open. It wasn't. He jumped around and turned over a bunch of rocks in case the portal would just become super tiny or shy, but it was nowhere to be found. Dude, we're gonna miss the fucking party, Baron yelled, ignoring the fact that he had just partied for 1,000,000 hours. He felt hyper frustrated and looked for something to take it out on, which happened to be a beautifully carved cat gourd chilling next to his feet. He picked it up and reared back a fist. Ugh. Little bomb there, boys. He picked it up and reared back a fist, ready to punch Exploded into infinity. The tiny pumpkin shook in terror and began crying sweet-smelling pumpkin seeds. Yo, chill, Grundax pleaded. He hated seeing his buddy so stressed, and he definitely didn't want to see an innocent cat-o'-lantern bite the big one. Just take it easy, man. I understand that you're pissed about the portal. So am I. But smashing pumpkins won't get you re-pumped. They're way too angsty. Baron looked over slowly. Grundax prodded. You feeling like a rat in a cage? Despite all his rage, Baron chuckled at the bad joke. He unreared his fist and morphed it into a contrite thumbs up. Good, dude, good, Grundax sighed in relief. Look, all we've eaten since we got here is fucking Halloween candy. You're probably just hungry. Let's kill some bergs in extreme presso, and then we'll bust back.
Someone else
The
is
portal will
watching
be
now.
open by then.
Right.
I can feel it in my frets. Grundax is off to...
Cool. Sorry, I was the only one watching, so I was listening back to it. Someone else is watching. Welcome. I'm going to jump back in here to the next chapter. Chapter 10. Grundax, what the fart? Baron thundered. The fridge was stocked only with produce in packages labeled 100% non-GMO, with no chemicals you can't pronounce, which is basically everything since you majored in poli-sci at a low-tier state school, with every intention of going to law school afterward, because what else are you going to do with that degree? Plus, your dad is a lawyer, and you really liked Legally Blonde when you were a kid, and everyone always tells you how much you love to argue, which is really just a nicer way of saying you're a disagreeable shit. But then you met someone who makes enough money so you don't have to work or pursue your education or think critically about anything other than soccer schedules and bath/bedtimes. But hey, what do we know? We're just applesauce. Baron went totally ballistic. He grabbed one of the dozens of wine boxes chilling on the faux granite island and chucked it across the room. With a loud plock smash, the box nailed the ceiling fan and burst, spraying Moscato all over the rug and launching a broken fan blade right through the coffee table. Grundax lost it, laughing so hard he made a weird snort noise that Baron had never heard before, but that made him think everything would be okay. That Baron had never heard before, but that made him think everything would be okay. Let's bail on this shit show and find some real food, Baron announced as he cranked the gas on the stovetop and lit one of Mrs. Bones' countless for-decoration-only candles shaped like an anthropomorphic baby Christmas tree sleeping in a manger. As the duo stepped back outside, Mrs. Bones' house exploded so hard it actually imploded first. Stucco, vinyl, and hair scrunchies whizzed past Baron and Grundax, but not a piece touched them because they all fucking knew better. So, if Mrs. Bones was a mom, Grundax said as they strolled across the front lawn, that means she has or had kids, right? You think they were still in the house? A tiny skeleton hand clutching a rattle flew past Baron's head, and he and Grundax booked it in a major way. Cool. Should be good. Let's see. Chapter 10. Oh, chapter 9. Oh, fuck. Well, I did not save that one. Maybe I can get it back.
2.
Yeah, cool. Saved over that. Chapter 9, 10. Let's see. Cool. All right. What's going on? One other person. Feel free to chat if you want. Everyone else is asleep. Let's go back here. Chapter 11. After running for what seemed like infinity, Baron and Grindex found themselves at the mouth of Monsteropolis. Literally. 2 bloated, hovering lips blocked their path. Behind them towered shadowy skyscrapers, neon highways, and misty mountains with foliage in the shape of sideburns. As Baron approached, the purple lips trembled and curled, revealing tremendous fangs covered in frothy white slime. "Oh!" it moaned in a high, quavering voice like that of a grandpa/uncle whose lap you never fucking sit on. "Why, whom do we have here? A whittle baby bard and his whittle baby strum? Come to serenade us with a mellifluous melody." "Oh, fuck no!" Baron growled as he insta-flew into a rage and flipped 3 pickup switches at the same time. Grindex burped, and from his output jack... Grindex burped, and from his output jack... Man, it's hard to say. Grindex burped, and from his output jack spewed a hologram doppelganger. The hologram burped and shot out a smaller hologram, which burped and shot out a smaller hologram, which belched and vomited up a hologram smaller to the 64th power. It was the fabled Pumpstroyshka Dologram technique, taught to Grindex during his studies with the beautiful and mysterious Zamoljakova of the Old Country somewhere outside Boston. The hologram surrounded the mouth monster and looked pissed as fuck. Rightfully impressed/terrified, it relented. "Oh," it moaned again, this time with a couple extra O's. "Please excuse my impetuous impertinence. I did not realize you were beings of such preeminent pumpitude and with such magnificent musculature." A plop of drool oozed over the mouth's bottom lip, causing Baron's neck hairs to stand up in anything but a cool way. "Let us pass," Grindex demanded with the confidence of someone backed by an army of his own hologram doppelgangers. "Or my homies here will punch you so hard your I need a whole breath for this one. Or my homies here will punch you so hard your nose will shoot out your butt and smell everything along the way." "Ooh," the monster cooed. The monster cooed. Promises. Now Grindex's neck hairs, dust and cat hair lodged beneath his strings, stood on end too. "As much as I would relish such an odoriferous outing, such a putrid peregrination," the mouse slavered, biting its lower lip in deep thought, "I'm afraid I have neither a nose to hit nor a butt to sniff." Grindex ran biometric scans and confirmed the monster's claims, which was a bummer since he had just wasted his cool new line on it. The ambiguous mouth smiled kindly/creepily. "But where are my manners? Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Halatosip, Esquire, gatekeeper and liaison between Monsteropolis and the Belowburbs." "Belowburbs?" Baron asked. "The gate next to the portal we came through like 800 miles ago said we were already in Monsteropolis." "You and they only wish," Halatosip sneered. "For you see, 1,000 Sondudillion years ago, the throne of Samsarios Spumandios Mio VIII, a most terrible, dandruffy king, was usurped. But doesn't that sound awful? Let us say ascended by our glorious dandruff-free present-day ruler,
the boogeyman. It was his divine fright and our manifest destiny. What followed, though I and the Knights of the Boogie Board assure you, is a subsequence and not a consequence of our current king's rightful, albeit perhaps anachronistic ascendancy, became known as the Weak Wiener Withdrawal. During this period, Monsteropolis' lowest level inhabitants, momsters, eyeball pigeons, bipedal buttwalkers, uncarved pumpkins, and any lesser carved cucurbitaceae, fled to the safety and seclusion of the Belowburbs, though they believed they still reside in Monsteropolis. And if someone wrote Monsteropolis instead of Belowburbs on a piece of mail, it would probably get to them. They are not us, and we are not them. Baron started to ask if carved cuperb whatevers were actually jackos, and if so, what the moorer ones were like, since the lesser ones were already pretty sweet. But then he remembered how bored/hungry/tired he was of watching a mouth monster drool all over the place, so all that went out the friggin' window. "Listen, Halitosis Step," Baron snarled. "We don't give a crap about history." "Don't give a crap about biology," Halitosis sang. "Fucking let us through, now!" Baron stomped forward, ready to rock. The squadron of doppelgangers everyone had forgotten about followed, also ready to rock. "What will you give me if I do?" Halitosis asked, licking its purple lips with an even purpler tongue. "How about a busted fat everything?" Baron wielded Grindax and jet-booted into the sky. Grindax used the higher vantage point in his 8 spider eyes to look in all directions, hoping to catch a glimpse of a bipedal buttwalker farting its way across the foggy horizon. On Baron's cue, a thumbs up, the holograms began shredding in perfect unison, but through various effects pedals. One was super distorted, which shot out a laser that caused rock damage. One was heavy on reverb, which blasted out a water laser. One added chorus, an air laser. And the last one was a death metal effect called Joppin' Jalapeno Garage Nuclearo Lavable Pizza Rolls. Go Rage Nuclearo Lavable Pizza Rolls, which fired a laser hotter than any Thai dish. Even if the restaurant's menu only goes from 1 to 4 spicy stars, but some puffy-nipped nerdo tells the waitress 13 stars in an attempt to impress her. While the doppelgangers wailed, Baron king-chilled in midair, doing flips and generally looking awesome. "Oh my land!" Halitosis yelled as the laser slowly combined. The monster mouth knew it was screwed, but it also didn't care since this was the most exciting thing that had happened in a while. Baron simultaneously picked the lowest and highest notes on Grindax, causing acid, ghost, ice, and school attacks to blast out of his fangs. The quad damage laser started parting with the doppelgangers' lasers, and all of their colors and elements merged into the ultimate laser. Sick as fuck. It was black or white, whatever the presence of all colors is. Probably white, even though if you add every color of Easter egg dye to a glass, the water definitely turns black. But for some reason it's different for light, and lasers are closer to light than Easter egg dye. The white/black Ultima Octa laser slammed into Halitosis with the power of 8 X-rays taken in a podiatrist's office in a strip mall in the shittiest part of town. It scorched through the monster's lips, bubbling and popping infinity blisters before burrowing deeper into its vile gums. Every root got canaled as micro-explosions and tiny breath strips rocketed Halitosis' teeth into the sky. The fangs missed Baron and Grindax by a nanometer before flipping and falling back toward their previous hosts. "No, yo, 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 wah, wah, wah," Halitosis garble shrieked as the teeth punctured it 32 ways from Sunday. "Yo, does this monster make you feel funny too?" Grindax whispered to Baron, who had stopped flipping to look awesome and started flipping out of boredom. "Yeah, man," Baron replied. "Not a fan. Let's wrap it up and hope Monsteropolis' food is worth this bullshit parade." They dropped from the sky and busted over to Halitosis, who was on the last few seconds of its game over countdown. "Baron," the mouth coughed through blood and slime. "What is it, weirdo?" Baron snapped. "And how do you know my name?" "Never you mind. To defeat King Boogie, you must... Wait, what? Weirdo?
Yeah, you're a huge fuck weirdo. Grindex and I had a full conversation about it, and we both agreed.
Wow,
Halatosep stammered.
fine, just fine. I was gonna help you, but now you can forget it. You prurient pervert, you salacious scalawag, you big dumb jerk. I can't believe I ever loved you. Have fun dying.
The mouth monster melted into a pile of puke and butt breath vapors. Baron didn't let on, but Halatosep's final words caused his scared/pump ratio to creep a little closer to 1. Let me hit this one again if I can find it. It was up here. Yeah.
Though they believe they still reside in Monsteropolis, and if someone wrote Monsteropolis instead of below burbs on a piece of mail, it would
It's even worse.
Though they believe they still reside in Monsteropolis, and if someone wrote Monsteropolis instead of below burbs on a piece of mail, it would probably get to them. They are not us, and we are not them.
There we are. Chapter. That was a long ass chapter, man. 11. Done. Yeah, fuck, 10 and a half minutes. Lost that one person. That's fine.
Though they believe they still reside in Monsteropolis, and if someone wrote Monsteropolis instead of below burbs on a piece of mail, it would probably get to them. They are not us, and we are not them.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe one or two more. Yeah. And I can plan more. Who's in this? Oh, this is easy. Chapter 12. Chapter 12. Baron and Grindax bid farewell to the doppelgangers who went off to get jobs installing cable or something, and then crossed the mush of taste buds that was Halatosep. As they took their first steps into Monsteropolis proper, the air became heavier and reeked of fog machines, paint, and latex. Dark glass towers and haunted subway stations lay closest on the horizon. Beyond them, asphalt streets regressed into cobblestone roads, where windows of ancient ghoul villages flickered softly in the night. In the farthest distance, where there were no roads, loomed primordial mountains whose hidden rivers and honeycomb passages teemed with blind crayfish, trolls, and troll-twos. The possibilities were as endless as they were intense, and thinking about them caused Baron to simultaneously pop a boner and get nervous dump feeling. Once both subsided, he and Grindax continued their journey. The blacklit highway leading downtown was lined on each side with jack-o'-lanterns, and suddenly what Halatosep had said before dying made sense. These jackos were infinitely tougher/morer than their below-burbs cousins. They were not only bigger and orangier, but they looked like they would chomp the crap out of any skeleton mom who tried to paint or bedazzle them. It was impossible to even imagine a skeleton mom in this environment, though, unless she was equally tough, like one who goes to her kid's soccer game with beer instead of Moscato and a BPA full thermos. Queen chills in the folding chair of another mom without even asking, and laughs at any kid who trips over the ball, even if the kid is hers and especially if the kid starts crying. Anyway, Baron was pumped/impressed. Monsteropolis had brought the pump in a major way and right off the friggin' bat. He assumed a power stance with Grindax and began playing an atmospheric monster ballad in homage. The song was fully instrumental and had enough spooky undertones to make it sound like something that would play in a commercial hunt. Probably in an antechamber or actor-free graveyard where you could stop for a minute to smell the walls and get weirdly existential without any teenage workers chasing you away or patrons goofing on you to their hot girlfriends. There was rarely a time when Baron wasn't pissed, pumped, or pissed/pumped, but for the moment he was also happy. There was rarely a time when Baron wasn't pissed, pumped, or pissed/pumped, but for the moment he was also happy. Miles away, the boogeyman furrowed the brow beneath his crown. With the flick of a gnarled finger, an amorphous darkness emerged from behind his throne and denim swooshed into the night. Actually, still sounds alright.
Miles away, the boogeyman furrowed the brow beneath his crown. With the flick of a gnarled finger, an amorphous darkness emerged from behind his throne and denim swooshed into the night. Or patrons goofing on you to their hot girlfriends. There was rarely a time when Baron wasn't pissed, pumped, or pissed/pumped, but for the moment he was also happy. There was rarely a time when Baron wasn't pissed, pumped, or pissed/pumped, but for the moment he was also happy. Miles away, the boogeyman furrowed the brow beneath his crown. With the flick of a gnarled finger, an amorphous darkness emerged from behind his throne and denim swooshed into the night.
Sweet, not bad. 12. Let's do one more. Go full black light. All right. That's why. Chapter 13. After playing the last note of what had become a 75-minute interlude, Baron sheathed Grindax and continued the journey into downtown Monstropolis. Once there, he found himself in the heart of a bustling cityscape. Black skyscrapers obfuscated the sky, monster cabs honked, street vendors shrieked, and bus station creeps with their hands in their pockets leered at passers-by. Amongst all the chaos and nonsense, Baron spotted a diner and busted over to it.
"Welcome to Scrape the Goody Off,"
chirped a hunchback hostess as the starving duo entered.
"Just one tonight?"
2p, Baron corrected. He nodded to Grindax, but since Grindax was slung across his back and also a guitar, he just looked like he was fucking crazy, nodding at the air and saying shit like 2p.
"You got it,"
the hunchback replied, unaffected because she was entirely used to crazy. She grabbed a handful of menus and led Baron to a nearby booth. All of the monster patrons turned their head/eye stalks to watch him as he confidently strode by. Some looked super pumped, but others looked super pissed. Baron ignored the latter group, as a wise fortune cookie once told him that if strangers look pissed at you, it's probably just because you're so badass that it caused them to look at their own biceps and then at yours, and then regret every decision they've ever made, including especially the first day of middle school, when they gelled their hair super flat and loudly proclaimed it gerbil hair in front of the entire class. He was also too hungry to give a crap.
"Waitress will be right with you, boys,"
the hunchback hostess said as Baron and Grindex crashed into their booth and turned to walk to... The hunchback hostess said as Baron and Grindex crashed into their booth and she turned to walk back to the front. "Hey, wait!" Baron stopped her. "What does scrape the goody off even mean?"
"Oh, it means when you scrape the goody off, like when you scrape off all the goody."
"The fart kind of answer is that?" Baron sputtered. The hunchback smiled, shrugged her hunch, and retreated back to her station. As soon as she left, a tangerine slug waitress slimed over to the booth. Peeking/jiggling over the apron plastered to her belly was a pair of 36X slug boobs, prominently displayed as a way of helping her earn bigger tips to feed her little slug babies at home.
"Evening, sugars,"
she said in a hybrid accent that was part Creole, part Sluganese.
"What can I get y'all?"
"What have you got?" Baron barked. Grindex swallowed hard because the obvious answer was big, fat, planet-sized slug jugs.
"Aw, you poor literate thing,"
the waitress said, taking Baron's cronginess, crabby/hungriness, as a sign that he couldn't read the menu. She bent over to point to various items. Baron knew better than to stare into the sun, but Grindex took the bait. His eight eyes hyper-focused, and he became hypnotized, pupils lightly dancing and swaying in time with the bulbous subject of their reflection.
"We got brains in a cup,"
the waitress pointed.
"boogers by the bowl, spider egg souffle, eyelash stuffed ravioli and plum sauce, baby bird beaks on toast, and today only, our KB special."
Baron chose the special since it was the last thing the waitress mentioned, and he had a super short attention span. Grindex blurted out, "Blue bubblegum snow cone," because it was all he could think to say other than slug jug souffle a la Jiggly. The waitress wrote down both orders and left, leaving Grindex feeling pumped that maybe blue bubblegum snow cones were a secret menu item, and now she would be impressed/turned on by the fact that he knew about them. Or even if they weren't a secret menu item, maybe she dug him so much that she would personally make him one, and include at the bottom of the cone a mini SD card loaded with pics/vids of her slug jugs, organized into folders by outfit, lighting, and slime glisten. Before he could continue down that rabbit hole, the metal kitchen doors exploded open, and a crazed, obese chef monster stormed into the dining room wielding two meat Before he could continue down that rabbit hole, the metal kitchen doors exploded open, and a crazed, obese chef monster stormed into the dining room wielding two meat cleavers. Deja fuck vu. Cool. Make sure that sounds okay at the end.
Before he could continue down that rabbit hole, the metal kitchen doors exploded open, and a crazed, obese chef monster stormed into the dining room wielding two... Before he could continue down that rabbit hole, the metal kitchen doors exploded open, and a crazed, obese chef monster stormed into the dining room wielding two meat...
Oh man, I should
Before
have
he
finished
could
that.
continue down that rabbit hole, the metal kitchen doors exploded open, and a crazed, obese chef monster stormed into the dining room wielding two meat cleavers. Deja fuck vu.
I can do one more. Chapter 14. Maybe not. Chapter 14. All right, a voice seemed to yell, even though the chef's mouth didn't move. Who here order my KB special? Baron slowly but super confidently stood up, fret fingers at the ready. Yo, he growled. Sup? Syrup? The chef seemed to shout, his eyes rolling around in his head. He shambled toward Baron's booth. All of the monster patrons in the diner watched intensely. What the bitch are you talking about? Baron garbled, as he was battling a depumpbilitating mix of confused/pissed/hungry. And how are you talking about anything without moving your mouth? Why, that's not my mouth, the chef said while shaking and pointing at his bloated rosacea dome. This here my mouth. He pulled aside his greasy apron and ripped open his greasier shirt. Where his belly button should have been, there was a hideous rictus. It twisted into a smile and shrieked, And this my KB special. The mouse/chef's stomach split wide open, and a quintoxillion putrid earwigs and soft-shell crabs spilled across Baron and Grindax's table. Baron insta-vommed, coating the fetid spread in chunks of butterfinger and bile. "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" the chef laughed. "And there's your syrup." Baron reeled and fell back into the booth. Vomiting on an already empty stomach had left him too hungry to deliver another ass-beating, even though the chef needed it bad. Grindex knew that the onus fell upon his frets. He unwound his low E and A strings and wailed a quick power chord riff on the remaining 4. Ice crystals slowly formed on the chef's apron, but they were immediately shaken off. "So, you like music, do ya?" the monster chuckled. He motioned to the hunchback hostess, who punched a jukebox by the entrance. "I like music, too. Let's boogie." Monster doo-wop began pulsing into the diner. A vampire, who sounded more Jewish or Jamaican than Transylvanian, crooned, "In the still of the night, I gave you a bite, 'cause I love blood so, promise you'll never stop the flow in the still of the night." It was a lazy as fuck parody, but it managed to drown out the rest of Grindax's attacks. He and Baron were completely helpless, and at the mercy of this super original obese chef/mouth monster with a tattoo of a skeleton mom on his left bicep. Perfect.
Gave you a bite, 'cause I love
Primo.
blood so, promise you'll never stop the flow in the still of the night. It was a lazy as fuck parody, but it managed to drown out the rest of Grindax's attacks. He and Baron were completely helpless, and at the mercy of this super original obese chef/mouth monster with a tattoo of a skeleton mom on his left bicep.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so stupid. The two are not mutually exclusive, you understand. It's probably enough. Yeah. What else is coming up here? Yeah, man. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. Let's keep going. So, yeah. Chapter 15. Right before Baron and Grindex succumbed to the growing tide of earwigs, crabs, and vom, the chef's stomach mouth shot out a buffalo chicken pizza with buffalo chicken pizza bagels on top, and then a blue bubblegum snow cone the size of a basketball on a traffic cone. "Grindex," Baron muttered on the brink of starvation. "Are you seeing this too, or is it some kind of fuck mirage?" Before Grindex could respond, the chef did. "No mirage, friend. That there's the goodie." What the fuck is goodie? Goodie was to scrape off." The chef spiked a spatula into Vom Mountain, turned, and walked back into the kitchen. The monster patrons turned their attention back to their meals, again filling the diner with the sounds of silverware clinks and satisfied grunts. Baron and Grindex stared at each other, totally bewildered. They hesitantly grabbed the spatula, scraped the Zahn snow cone onto their plates, and took a cautious first bite. "The puke is gross as fuck," Baron said after some deliberation, "but the Zaw is good as fuck." "Same," Grindex replied, "but snow cone for the second part, not Za." The two ate in silence for a bit. I guess that's what they mean, huh?" Baron eventually remarked. "About what?" "Scrape the goodie off. Like, scrape off all the good stuff, leave the shitty stuff behind." I guess so. And why not scrape the shitty off? Maybe they're going for a family vibe. Well, then scrape the grossy off. It's all the same. You're scraping vom off whatever you want to eat. There's way more bad stuff than good. I guess they're choosing to focus on the pump instead of the slump. Baron felt a twinge of guilt, and the two went back to eating in silence. After finishing their meals, the duo dropped some cash on the table and booked it before the waitress came back, just in case. After finishing their meals, the duo dropped some cash on the table and booked it before the waitress came back, just in case Monsteropolis Diners didn't take Earth money. Back outside and fully repumped/reprimed, they decided to head back to the Blowburbs and see if the portal had reopened. It was possible that it hadn't, and it was equally possible that Little Billy's birthday party would be over even if it had. Extra word. It was possible that it hadn't, and it was equally possible that Little Billy's party would be over even if it had. Regardless, they needed to try. They had to stay pumped. They had to scrape the goodie off. But as soon as Baron stepped into the street, a vine ensnared his mountainous trapezius muscles, and a shrill voice rasped, "Hello, baby!" Let's see. Chapter 15. All right. Chapter 16. Baron spun around and found himself face to plant with a Venus flytrap prostitute monster. Her flytrap lip... Her flytrap... Alright. Just call it. I want to get to the... Nah, fuck it. Here we go. Chapter 16. Baron spun around and found himself face to plant with a Venus flytrap prostitute monster. Her flytrap lips were artificially plumped with chlorophyll and painted bright red, and the trigger hairs lining the inside of her mouth were pierced and cessily coiffed. Her stem was bare, her curvy bulb packed tightly into patent leather, and each of her dozen roots wore a stiletto boot. Whoa, Baron said as his newly popped boner slammed into her and projected himself backward. Her vines reached out and ensnared him, pulling him close again.
"Where you headed, baby?"
she asked. Her mouth made a super annoying clapping sound with each word, and her breath smelled like mummified flies. Baron's boner/pump deflated. "We're headed to an awesome party back on Earth," Baron snarled, "and you're not invited."
"Come on, baby,"
the VFPM moaned, slapping a vine into Baron's crotch, which he thought would be hot but actually just hurt.
"I like to party too. How would you like to party with me? Table shower? Tombstone?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you like to party with me? Table shower? Tombstone Pilehouse Pumpkin Blumpkin? Get your guitar in on it? Have a couple's Tombstone Powerhouse Pumpkin Blumpkin with a nightmare ending?"
"I don't know what any of that bullshit is," Baron replied, "but I imagine it'll make me all red and itchy. So, pass." She tightened her vine grip around Baron's peen, and her stem grumbled in hunger.
"Ooh, baby,"
she sighed, her drooling maw opening wide.
Just slam that ping pong between these leaves and let your girl dissolve it."
"What the fuck? No! And stop calling me baby. I hate babies." Baron twisted her vines into a giant knot and punched him like a tetherball. It slammed into the prosty's mouth, and she instinctively clapped shut and began digesting her own arms. She gagged while flailing around the street and disappointing her parents. "Hasn't anyone told you it's rude to talk with your mouth chlorophyll?" Baron chuckled. "Chlorophylled? I don't know. Yo, Grindex, you know what to do." "Yeah, man," Grindex replied. "I'm on it." He had absolutely no idea what to do. Never wanting to disappoint, though, he started humming and waving a couple strings around. Out of nowhere, a City of Monsteropolis garbage truck careened down the street and slammed into the VFPM, leaving behind a grease stain comprising the pollen of 37 dude plants. "Beauty!" Baron cheered. "Good job, man. All I needed was help picking the better pum, but shit. He petted Grindax's pickups. Anytime, Grindax replied, totally confused but happy to get the pets. The garbage truck screeched to a halt. The driver, a beer-bellied troll with greased-back hair and greased-on wife-beater, rolled down his window and in a New Jerseyan accent yelled, "Hey, the fuck is going on over here?" "You just ran over a Venus flytrap prostitute monster and it was all your fault," Baron replied, shifting the blame in case the driver wasn't cool. But he definitely was cool. "Ha!" the troll snorted, causing his beer belly to jiggle and gold necklace to clang. "VFPM, eh? Or as we used to call him back at the docks, an old plant-based penis punching bag. Ho! But hey, no matter. Just leave it to a garbage monster to take out a bit of garbage." He threw a switch in the truck and the dumping bed raised. 2 tons of acid garbage sludge spilled onto the street. It looked/smelled awesome, like radioactive pecan pie guts. Baron shredded a thrash solo as the municipal waste dissolved the VFPM grease stain. While Baron played, the garbage monster wailed air guitar and rocked out hard, kicking his steering wheel and honking the horn kind of off time with the solo, but it was okay because it was done with unadulterated, fully pinchin' pump. As Baron and Finney bent the final note, the garbage monster slammed a cigar into his mouth and ashed it in one puff. He gave a thumbs up, spun out his tires for a minute, and blazed off into the night while shouting, "Fucking metal all the way!" Baron watched the truck's blacklight taillights fade into the darkness. He thought about how awesome it would have been if that dude had been his dad. How awesome it would have been if anyone had been his dad. "You okay, man?" Grindex asked. Baron stared into the inky sky. Orange clouds and eyeball vultures solemnly cruised by against a backdrop of lonely blood. Orange clouds and eyeball vultures solemnly cruise by against a backdrop of lonely blood stars and social anxiety gore planets. Yeah, cool. One more time. Orange clouds and eyeball vultures solemnly cruise by against a backdrop of lonely blood stars and social anxiety gore planets. Bum bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, do 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 do. Dun, dun, Cool. Yes. Good night to me.